Hello again, everyone. This is Chadi Hassoun, Project Manager for Team Skunkworks, and this is the final project presentation for the customizable daily routing report for inpatient management. Just a recap to the project objective, and this is per our mentor. The objective is to produce an application that organizes clinical data in a printable single-page routing report with emphasis on customizability according to user preference. By now, every team member has already presented twice. Overall Gantt chart, I'm pleased to announce that we have completed the project successfully. We basically broke down the project into key milestones based on key deliverables, starting with project kickoff, into research and development, prototype, findings, implementation, test and validation, and go live. The specific task for each of these milestones has been documented and provided to the deliverable accordingly. And just in case you haven't watched the previous videos, for deliverable 1, the whole team has presented. For deliverable 2, it was me, David, and Matt. For deliverable 3, it was me and Matt. And for the final video, the whole team will be presenting. And this is a sample of that task that broken down based on key deliverables. Again, these will be provided accordingly for your review.
Okay, now we're going to switch over to the demo portion of our presentation. So this is just a quick feature list. I don't need to go through all these right now, or you're going to see all those in our demo, but I just wanted to make sure that there was a good sort of indication of what we were going to kind of talk about in the demo. So we're going to cover patient list view, some spark lines, which are kind of small, simple graphs, fishbone charts you'll see, and a couple different medical and vital sign sections as well. So that's kind of what's upcoming here. So before we got started, we wanted to just mention what the architecture is here and kind of like, how does this work? So the front-end bit is a React JavaScript framework, which is a static JavaScript application that talks to a back-end API server, and that is talking to our local FHIR server. So it's kind of doing a translation there, simplifying some of the FHIR data, presenting it back to the front end for consumption and display to the end user. So that's what we're going to see. That's how it works. Let's go into the demo now. So let's go to the home page. This is what a doctor would see when they first arrive. So David, over to you to discuss what we're seeing here.
So this is the patient search page. Like Matt said, it's the first thing that a user will experience when loading our application. So there's a pre-populated list of 6 patients, all of which you can click on to get to their respective rounding reports. In the search bar, a user can enter a patient's first name, like Sarah, or a last name, like Gonzalez. And so you see there's 2 results there. You could even enter a patient's ID number, like 174. So clicking on that suggestion will bring us to that patient's rounding report.
The top section shows the patient's name and the personal information of the patient. The next section is the vital signs, which show the spark line representing the past 7 days values, and the right side shows the recent value with their units for each of the vitals, such as heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen saturation, respiration, and temperature. And if you mouse over these graphs, it shows the value that each it denotes to. The next section lists the medical conditions of the patients, and the next one shows the medications along with their dosages. Now coming on to the next section, which is a fishbone diagram. These are standard diagrams, and they are generally used by physicians to view the lab values. The positions of each of the lab tests are standard, so a practicing physician are generally aware of them. And also, if you mouse over these values, it shows the blood test that each value denotes, like sodium, potassium, chloride, and so on. I'll hand over to Dan for the next section.
Now we are going into the third row. A user can view category of information such as hematology, metabolic panel, and cardiac. Each cell contains value and abbreviation. When you click the checkbox, you can hide some values. This is the customization that users can do. Next is Matt again.
Hi, yeah, so we got 2 more sections to look at here. So one of these is just upcoming tests. This is straightforward, what kind of test the patient might be having in the next day or days. And in the last section, this is all microbiology tests. So what that is when the lab technician takes a sample and they grow a culture and they look to see what kind of bacteria or other microbiology signs that might be in the culture. So what you can see here is the source of the culture here: blood, urine, respiratory, CSF, tissue, or stool as a source, and then what kinds of bacteria you could see as the result. So in this case, this was positive for strep. You can also see the negative values if the particular test was negative in a particular case for that bacteria. So this just gives you a good sense of what kinds of microbiology results this patient has. So I think that's it for our demo. So again, all of this was to make it easier for doctors and practitioners to see a patient's essential medical information in a single glance at the beginning of their medical rounds, which is when they will discuss all of the different things that they need to talk about for a particular patient, and they kind of discuss all that stuff together. And normally doctors have to kind of gather all this information from a number of different places, and in this case they get to see it all in one place, thanks to FHIR and kind of that modern technology approach here. So thanks for looking at this demo. Now we're going to go on and discuss a couple of future improvements that we could do and other things like that. So let's flip back to this. We're done with the demo. Here's some future improvements that we can make here. So one of the things we would like to do is be able to persist doctor preferences. So make sure that we know, which doctor is actually seeing the rounding report page and what they want to see. So that's something that we could do to improve this. There's some other things here. We could allow other kinds of customizations, like moving components around. Another one would be filtering for microbiology results. Another improvement we could do is include spark lines for the labs in the lab table. That's like the hematology section. This is the kind of app that would work well with Smart on FHIR that we've learned about in our class. So that would work as well. In terms of how we deploy this, so right now there are 3 separate components. They're all essentially containerized via Docker. So there's the backend that we mentioned, served out through Java Spring Boot app, front end with React, and we have our own FHIR server, so we can make sure that our data, our test data was good, and we always had it available to us, and we could manipulate it easily. So all of that stuff is built together using Jenkins, and it works very well in the HTAP environment. So this could be deployed in any kind of environment where we can deploy Docker containers, and it works quite well. We've done all of our development and kind of testing in the HTAP environment, so we know it works well there. So I think there's no problem with deploying this going forward. So I think that's it for our presentation. Thanks for watching. We hope that this application can make it easier for doctors to kind of get all the information they need in one go, and presents a kind of a better way forward for producing rounding reports, saving time and increasing accuracy. So we appreciate your watching today, and thank you.